Okay? Just like we do when we're seated, let's stand comfortably, right? Be upright, like you're going to be here for a while. We won't be, but we want to be ultimate comfortable, right? The most comfortable stance we've got. But then close your eyes and go inward. Feel what has to happen to make it possible. Like notice your feet, feel where your feet meet the floor, both texture-wise and pressure-wise. And then let's activate from the feet up to the hips, spiral the muscles in. It's like you're trying to roll your kneecaps in, activate the legs with this inward twisting motion from the feet up to the heels. Another way to think about it is keep your feet where they are, but pull against that grip on the floor. Try to pull your toes in, right? That'll get your muscles activating and pulling that way. All right, just relax again. Make sure you switched everything off from the center of the body to the upper legs, to the lower legs, to the ground. And then let's go ahead and step our feet together, okay? It's gonna help us focus on our lower back and the back of the hips. You can balance like this, you can balance with your hands to the hips, whatever feels most comfortable. But let's start to make tiny circles, okay? At first they're just barely noticeable. And then we gradually open our circles up so that we find that border, right? We find that border between where we move and where we don't move. And we're not trying to change it, but we do want to sort of be there, lean on it. All right, let's take a few laps the other way. Okay, that's good. Let's get a good knee bend and we're gonna bring our hands to our knees, okay? Let's do some knee circles here. So our knees are gonna start to move apart and then circle back, right? Our feet are still right together. As much knee bend as we can get without our heels lifting, and then they circle on back. Okay, let's circle the other way. That just means starting straight kneed and then circling forward and back together, right? Okay, let's come on back upright and get a comfortable stance again, and we're going to do some scooping and some reaching here, gathering gestures. I like to think of this in the yin-yang terms. Down here is everything that's solid and slow and damp and heavy, and up here is everything that's fast and active and growing and speedy up here and slow and steady down here. We need both sets of those attributes, so we're going to gather the heavy ones and then we'll gather the bright and fast ones, okay? And that's the image or the visualization, but we're doing those same things with our body. We're letting our muscles and our bones do that as well. So we'll start with the yin, down low, darkness, right? So get a knee bend, and we're just going to scoop, gather like so, and then pull it up. And I think of it as programming it into my body. As I bring up that dark heaviness, I'm putting it into my legs, and my hips, and my upper body. And our hands come up in front of the face and then just release to the side. And just make a smooth movement, right? And let's match it with an inhale. Gather, pull up, and then release. Let's do one more. Okay? Now from our hands by our sides, let's go up. Okay, and this time I even like to lift my heels a little bit. When I'm really reaching and gathering, I'm coming up and then I settle back onto my feet and I'm pushing that down through my head and the front of the body and out to the side. And then we'll gather it again and utilize it. Awesome. Okay, let's do a little bit of Tai Chi walking this morning, okay? Find a track, however you like to do it. We won't do it long. We'll do it for 5 minutes, and I'll keep track of our time. So that's just that same toes pointed out, nice deep knee bend. Make sure to stay pliable. Sometimes it feels like we can rest on our straight joints. Like I can lean here. Here I have to do something to keep lifted, but here I can sort of let go. But this is such a wonderful blend of activation and rest because we have to be a certain amount activated. That's why it does us good, because we're working, but we're working in new soft ways, right? That's what we're trying to get at here. So knees have a nice soft bend to them, and we'll plan on putting weight first in the left leg. So imagine under the navel, this is the dantian, center of energy, and let's think of it as our center of gravity for the sake of this. We're going to shift that over the left foot. Put all your weight in your left foot. Right? So now your right is free, and we're going to tap the right toes, and then step the right foot forward. Land the right heel in the front of the right foot. Now still at this moment, I could do this. I'm still loaded on the back leg. Now on purpose, I take my center of gravity forward into the right foot, and that right knee is allowed to bend. Our anchor is that our heel and our toe on the back foot stays down. That's our leash. That's how far we go. Now let's come back, put all the weight into the left foot, pick up the right, and angle them to the right. Now intentionally load the right foot, bringing that center point right over the right foot. Now we just touch with our left toes right next to the right and step the left forward. Now we know where we're going. Heel, toe, and then the weight shift happens. That knee is allowed to bend in the front. Right foot holds us down. And then let's come back into the right foot. Left toes lift and point out. Now here we go into the left foot. The cool thing about that too is that it gets you paying more attention of weight shift and how you do all of your other movement and activities. I mean, you know, our yoga poses, they do that as well. But hopefully any new thing we learn like this is going to point us back into our everyday life, which is awesome. That, you know, it's just so exciting. It reminds us of our practice in the middle of the day, and it's a good thing. My whole deal is trying to integrate all of my life together, to move with grace and rhythm and fun, even on my trip to the store, or even in whatever else people do. Let's go ahead and have a seat, okay? And we'll just make ourselves an easy pose, and we'll take a moment to set this first one up, because it's sort of our default that we come back to whenever we're doing the seated poses. So we'll do the same thing as we did when we were standing. Close your eyes and send your attention into your legs and hips and see and feel the ground. Notice if there's texture that you can pick up on, and definitely notice areas that feel heavier or lighter, more dense, more stable. And then notice if there's any muscles working, if there are any muscles working between the ribs and the hips, and let those go. Let the front of the body release, and imagine a line that goes from the navel through to the lower back and press forward. That's just remembering to keep our biggest vertebrae under our center of gravity, right? Our spine is holding us up. Now the whole upper body can just rest on that base, and we can release, right? Make it easy, make it simpler. I like to turn my hands up because that's going to set the shoulders back and open the heart, open the chest, get the shoulders back and down, and then just let the hands rest in your lap or wherever you would like to go with them. All right, we got our chin level, the crown of the head just floats up to our full height. Okay, from here, let's do some of our three-part breathing. That's breathing into the belly, then into the chest, and then into the throat or the top of the chest, and then breathing out from high to low. So I'll walk us through the first one, and then I'll leave us a few to feel through on our own. Okay? Each inhale is going to have 3 parts, and each exhale has 3 parts. So put one part, the first part of the inhale, down low beneath the belly button, and pause. Okay? And then put the second part here in the solar plexus. Okay? And then put the third part, top it off, up into the collarbones. And pause for a moment, hold your breath, but relax around it. And then exhale 1/3 from up high, and pause, and exhale 1/3 from the center, from the solar plexus. And then the last third, we're going to get busy with our belly muscles and our diaphragm, push everything out, clear the lungs. And then pause for a moment, empty, and then bring in 1/3 of an inhale into the belly, and then 1/3 into the solar plexus, and then 1/3 up to the collarbones. Pause for a moment, see if you can soften around the breath. And then exhale 1/3 from up high, and 1/3 from the center, and 1/3 from the belly. Hold empty for just a moment. We'll do one more round. I'll be quiet and let you count your way through your own. Okay, awesome. Let us take the solar plexus as our pivot point here, and what we're going to do is make big circles. So just like when we did the hips, start by the smallest circle that you got, right? Tiny circles. And then gradually expand the circles so that we're leaning on that outward limit. Let's circle a few the other way. Okay, that's good. Let's take it to the sides of the body here for just a moment. So we're going to prop with our right hand and turn the left hand up, and then it's going to come up and over. And we're going to keep lifting the heart. I think of this as the present, right? This is the past. This will be the future way out here. But I want to keep the front of my body right there at the razor's edge of the present, right? Physically, that puts the stretch where I want it to go, which is in my left side. Alright, let's come back to center. And just like you might imagine, we'll go to the other side. Left hand's going to brace us. Right hand goes up and over. Find a way to lean on those right ribs so that you feel it. Okay, that's great. Let's come on back to center, and then we're going to take the legs out straight. Hard pose, right? Compared to easy pose, this is hard pose. They don't call it that. They call it stick pose or staff pose. Before we get detailed about it, let's stretch out the back of it so that the front of it, which is where we're going to have to go to work, has more room to move and has more options. So we make space in the back of the body by folding forward. So let's take the hands and arms up and use this reach to put space in the upper body. And then we're going to hinge it forward from the hips. But we want the reach. It's not the goal. It's not finding our toes that we want. It's the length in the back of the length in the muscles, right? We want muscles lengthening. And that can happen whether we're barely off of center or whether we're all laid out flat on top of the legs. All right, let's build it nice and slow from the hips to the middle of the back. Finally, the crown of the head floats up. Let's go ahead and pull our shoulders up and then pull the shoulder blades back. We're going to turn our hands up again because we want our shoulders open, and then let the hands rest on the hips. Let the shoulders release down the back. Intentionally lift the solar plexus. Now, it's not pushing forward, right? We're not poking the center of our chest out. We're going up, right? We're making space this way in the y-axis. Now, just for another couple of breaths, close your eyes and notice where it feels hard. Notice where you want to change, because that's where you're getting stronger. Wherever the body's complaining, that's the part that's getting work in, right? So just watch it for a moment. Excuse me. Okay, let us keep straight legs, but we're going to go nice and wide to stretch the muscles inside the legs. Okay? Now, it's tempting here again. This tightness in these muscles pushes us back this way. And this is an effort to avoid this. But make sure you're in your upright, what you would do with your spine in easy pose. This is relaxed. This is pushed forward. I'm up and strong here above any sort of seat I might have, right? Because our poses take us different places. Let's use our hands and arms for this one. And again, this is to keep this from happening. Because we don't want to melt the neck and melt the upper back. We want this to stay tall and the forward action come from here. And use your hands and arms to guide it so you get just enough. And when you find that place where just being still, it keeps happening, right? There are places where just resting and holding still, you feel you're lengthening, you're pulling on that limit, or you're pulling on that toughness or tightness. That's what we want. especially in these forward folds, because they're the ones that are soothing and calming. So we want to be soothing and calming in the way that we practice them. Okay, from the hips, let's slowly rebuild the spine. We'll just roll it up, right? Nice and slow. Okay, let's take the game to the hips here. Left knee is going to bend, so the left foot ends up directly in front of us. A little pro tip here, let the knobs of your ankles, make sure they're on the mat, because that to me is the hardest part about this pose, is the ankles on the floor sometimes get a little gnarly. Okay, let's bend the right knee, and we're going to take that right foot to the outside. Yeah? Yep. Okay, now, check in on both knees, make them roughly square, about 90 degrees, just a suggestion, doesn't have to be perfect. And then again, we're going to use our hands so that we can aim our sternum at our left foot. That's going to keep us squared up, because there's all sorts of ways the body can squirm out of the work, but the work is going to happen best when we stay square on the front foot. So use your hands and arms, bend from the hips instead of the neck, start taking the sternum towards the left foot. It might only be a millimeter, but feel that limit. Feel what it feels like in the hips and the back to be moving this way. And again, we just try to find that resting point where it's going on. We feel it happening, but it's not overpowering. Okay, let's roll it back upright. And now we're going to keep the same configuration with the legs, but take our hands just behind us, and we'll see if we can lean back. Okay, that's good. Come on back. We'll just take the legs the other way. Okay? Right foot's in front of us, left foot goes to the side. Knees are in the neighborhood of straight, or in the neighborhood of perpendicular. And we're going to use our hands in front of us to support the upper body, to steer. Because we don't want to get tight and tense, but we do want to keep this integration of the upper body so that we can take the sternum towards the right foot. Close your eyes and steer by what the hips tell you, right? And we steer into the storm, we got to do that in yoga, because if we were never uncomfortable or never encountered discomfort, then we would still benefit from paying attention to our body, but we wouldn't get near the same benefit as if we were actually challenging the status quo of our bodies today, right? And it's not challenging in a opposing way. It's challenging it because our body thrives on a challenge. Our body needs work, We're meant to scoot around the surface of the earth and secure our food and warmth and shelter, right? We don't do as much scooting as we used to, so we have to find ways to use our body, right? That's what we're doing here. Giving our body the work it needs to be happy, the activation it needs to be happy. Okay, let's come on up, and then we'll use our hands just behind us and lean it back. We don't scoot like we used to as a species.
So true.
Yeah.
We hardly scoot at all.
No, there's a great quote that I love from the science fiction author Kurt Vonnegut that says, I can't remember the exact words, but he says we're meant to putter around, like humans are meant to just go run errands and go here and there. He tells his wife he's going to the store to buy an envelope, and she's like, You're not a poor man. We have a box of envelopes in the kitchen. He's like, yeah, but I need to get out there and walk around and pet a dog and feel the breeze, and we need that richness of our senses. in addition to the richness of our physical experience. Okay, let's come on back upright. And we'll find an easy pose again. And this time, actually, let's go ahead and kick back to our backs. I think it's time for some of that. All right, let's press down with the lower back. And at this point, that's not about posture. That's about using the front of the body. Because when we activate the abdominal muscles by pushing the lower vertebrae down, now we're prepared to lift the legs, which is what we're going to do. That all comes from a core, right? And we're just preparing. So keep the lower back pushing down. Point both sets of toes. Knees are straight, and let's just come all the way up as high as we can go with straight knees, right? Of course, if we bend our knees, we'll go somewhere else. But we're looking for that borderline or that borderline of how far in we can come with straight knees. Okay? Now, keep the lower back pushing down, but now pull into that. Actively try to get the feet closer to the head. Keep on pulling. Okay, let's bend the knees now, and we'll use both arms to hold our knees. Make a little loop here, and you don't have to pull with the hands and arms. Just make this new shape and release. And then let's rock side to side. This can is good at making space in the hip flexors outside the hips. So check that out. Okay, now start to pull with the hands and arms, right? We're gently pulling our knees in towards our sternum. Now at the same time, we're going to use our core and back muscles to try to push the hips down towards the mat, like we're trying to get our tailbone to the floor. And at the same time, we're pulling in with the knees. Okay, that's great. Let's keep our right knee, but take the left leg out straight. Okay, left hand on the right knee, and check in on your right shoulder. Right shoulder is our anchor here. We don't have to push or do anything physically. Just notice your right shoulder being down and let that limit you, right? We want to keep the right shoulder on the floor. Now we're going to steer the knee across the body to the left. Find it in the right hip, find it in the spine. Again, close your eyes and navigate by what it feels like. We're used to depending on our eyesight, and the human eye is wonderful, but there's a wealth of other information available once we go inside and we move by how it feels. Okay, let's come on back to center. And we'll take the right leg out straight. Let's get the left knee in again. Same deal here. Left shoulder is our anchor. Right hand takes the left knee, and we're going to steer it across. Go slow. Close your eyes and feel into the pose. Notice where it shows up first. Is it my spine? Is it my hip? Keep watching. Okay, let's come on back to center. Now we're going to get both knees bent and pointed up, both feet flat to the floor. And this is my magic 3-piece for the hips. I do this when I lie down in bed to go to sleep at night. I do it all through the day because these 3 things combined pretty much take care of what we need. So first is to cross the right ankle on the left knee. Okay? Now they're going to keep this same setup, but we're going to pivot the hips and bring the right foot to the floor. So now it's the right knee that's pointed up. Okay? Feel what that feels like. We're hoping to find it outside the right hip and maybe even up into the right side of the body and the right ribs. Okay? If that's already challenging, then good. That's what we want. We want to engage the body so that it signals its, not distress, but it signals its challenge, right? We feel it. There is feedback. Now, take the left hand and gently push away, right? Anytime it feels like too much, then back off. Awesome. Keep the ankle and the knee set up the way they are, but let's come back up to the left foot. And now the left foot leaves the mat and the left knee, right ankle combo comes towards us. We're going to take our hands in front of us and get a grip under the left knee or over the left knee, wherever you can find it. And then let's lie back. Bring the head and shoulders to the floor. Notice what the right hip is telling you. And if it's a lot, then just stay here. If you want to pull in a little bit, get a little more challenge. One thing that I like to do too is to take that left foot side to side, slowly side to side, because it moves it around. It takes it to different areas of the right hip. All right, last step here on this side. Let's set the left foot down, and now it's right knee that settles over the left knee. So the legs are crossed, and then left shoulder is the anchor. We're going to bring our knees across to the right side, and we want to find that point where it just feels like our right leg, the weight of the right leg is pushing down on the outside of the left, and that's making all this space outside the left hip. Okay, let's come back to center. And we'll undo that. And this time the right foot is on the floor, right knee pointing up. We're going to cross the left ankle on the right knee. And then we pivot at the hips so that the left foot, sole of the left foot comes to the floor. Find what that feels like outside the left upper body and the left hip. And if you want more, you just push away. Use the hand to push the knee away. Okay, let's come back to center. That just means we're back up on the right foot. Ankle and knee are still together. Let's pull the right knee in towards us. Use the hands to grip the right knee and find something to feel there in the left hip. Okay, let's let the knee go. Now it's left knee on top of the right knee. They're just sort of resting there together. Right shoulder stays home. Let's take the knees over to the left. And our job is just releasing, right? Doing just what's necessary to keep the knees stacked, but trying to release through the belly and the back and the hips. Awesome. Let's come back to center. And we'll undo the knees and just take them out straight. And let's set up here for some fish pose. That means arms down by our side, and then we're going to disappear the arms behind us so that we're now sitting on the back of our hands and our palms are down against the floor. Okay? Now, once the palms are secure, scoot your elbows in, right? And you'll notice we're already getting space across the front of the chest. That's the whole name of the game here in the fish pose. So once the elbows are tucked in, press them to the floor. We don't want to waste a lot of energy or spend a lot of energy doing that. It's just a way of reminding us where our base is and where our connection to the ground is. All right? Elbows are gently pressing down. Now let's pick our head up so that we can look down at the toes. And now we're going to lift the upper body and bring our weight to those elbows. Okay? Now, again, if it feels comfortable to you, close your eyes and set this up by how it feels. Find a way that feels possible and doable and flexible, right? Find a place of stability. And then we're going to activate it by pushing up through the solar plexus. Lift up with the solar plexus, lift up with the sternum, and we just keep a gentle lift. Okay, now to move, we're going to move with our head first. Let's bring our head up to look down with our toes. Okay, now that's going to let us push with the hands and arms. And once we come up, let's find ourselves a very comfortable, easy pose. All right, you guys are in for it today. What we're going to do is called toning. And what this does is massages our body from the inside out, right? We're going to be using our vocal cords to make sounds. What separates this from chanting is that we're not saying words. We're going to use 5 sounds. Ah, E, I, O, and oo. 5 vowels and then one consonant, right? M, A, E, I, O, oo. What we're going to do is to find our note. We're going to burst the note out, but it's steady. We're trying to hold it steady. It doesn't have to be on the same pitch as mine, because again, this is not about finding pitches. This is about making a sound and using your full exhale to do it, right? So I'll lead us, and we're going to start with the M, right? So just take a big inhale, and then go, Yep. All right. Now take another big inhale. Now it's Awesome. Okay, now we're to the E. Notice how this one makes you smile, all right? Take a big breath in and go E. Awesome. Here we go. We're going to go I. It's sort of like the A, but it's more of a long A. Let's breathe in big and go Okay, here we go. Big breath in. Now we're to the Awesome. We're to the last one. Now, remember, find where you feel it in the face and the jaw and the forehead and the throat. Find where that whatever note you hit resonates, and then play with it. Move it around, right? Let's take a big breath in, and let's get a ooh. All right, that's fantastic. The best of me bows to the best of you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and that one, what I'm trying to do, or why I was so excited to learn that, is it's like an end around singing and chanting, because our voices are so intimate and it's so scary to sing in front of people. But if you, number one, take it out of the realm of words, so we're not repeating words, so you don't have to worry about that. And we're not trying to hit a certain pitch. We're just finding what pitch feels natural. Toning. That's